for a long time. So I'm excited that we're finally getting to do it. From here on out, baby, it's all about The Rock. For most of, if not all of 2000, The Rock was the top baby face and the top guy in the WWF. He lost the world title to Kurt Angle in October, and Steve Austin returned to the company around the same time. And heading into 2001, Rock is seemingly pushed back a little bit. He's no longer the champion. Austin has sort of reclaimed his spot as the top baby face. What was that dynamic like when, the Austin had to take a break, had to go have surgery, had some time on the shelf? So that creates an opportunity for a new tippy top guy. That of course becomes The Rock. But now that Austin's coming back, how does that dynamic change, or does it?
I don't know that it necessarily changes, because it's just one more guy to work with, and it's the top guy basically coming back to work. So it's a great dynamic. They had chemistry, everything about it, because you can only work with so many people. And when most of your career has been getting over and getting to this point with one guy, that being Steve Austin, who they both catapulted at the same time, man, and blew up. Steve before Rock, but I don't think that Steve Austin would have maybe been as popular without The Rock, and vice versa. I don't think that The Rock would have gotten over as strongly without Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Let's fast forward to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. The Rock is involved in that. The winner is going to get a world title shot at WrestleMania. Of course, he's going to come in at number 28 and eliminate the Godfather, Big Show, and Rikishi, but eventually Kane eliminates him. But before that happens,
oh yes, sorry,
we see a confrontation between Rock and Austin, which sort of plants the seeds of the eventual WrestleMania main event. You guys had already done Rock and Austin as a main event at WrestleMania back at WrestleMania 15. 2 years later, we know that's what's going to happen at WrestleMania 17, but chat me up. When did you guys sort of know, hey, this is what the main event is? Did you know before Austin even came back that, well, this is the only logical answer? I mean, he's our top star now, The Rock. And when Austin comes back, they've got to collide at WrestleMania 17.
We definitely hope so. And you never really do know until that talent is cleared and they are actually back. And then once they're back, that they've got the rhythm back and all is good. So you can be hopeful all you want, but with Steve, it was, we didn't know, and we needed to get him back to see exactly how he was doing. But once he got back, then all bets were off, and it was like, okay, this is exactly where we needed to go, because that was the two biggest stars in the company. And as we've talked a lot of times, this was during the period that we were looking for Steve to turn heel and do a double turn type thing. But, we all know how that turned out. But yes, to answer your question, yes, once Steve came back and was healthy and we knew he was ready to go, we knew that's the match we were going with.
The March 19th Raw, we would see The Rock hit Steven Regal with the belt and then give Austin the rock bottom. On March 22nd, this is
what championship, pal.
This is what everybody.
A belt holds up your pants.
Boy, you've changed in 3 years. March 22nd on SmackDown. This is what most people remember. We see a 23-minute sit-down interview with Rock and Austin conducted by Jim Ross, who's sitting between both of them, and he's thanking both guys for their professionalism. And this was a little unique. I mean, that you guys would not have any physicality and you would have this long stretch here of, just a sit down interview. What'd you think of this? I mean, this is clearly something that it worked because people are still talking about it.
I hated it. Here's why I hated it, because I felt that so much, hate is the wrong word. I disliked it because I would have liked to have gone in with a little more physicality between the two and just a little more tension. And it took me out of the emotion of it, I guess, if nothing else, because you didn't get any action out of it. Yes, you did get some intensity from the two guys. Look at the two that you're playing with there with Austin and Rock. But if I had the magic pencil and could have written anything I wanted, I would have had that one last confrontation between the two physically.
Right. Well, let's get to WrestleMania. I guess March 26th, we should mention, Austin and Rock would beat Undertaker and Kane when Triple H hit Undertaker with a chair and Austin pinned him at 4:34. And after the match, they're doing the beer thing, and Rock gives Austin a stunner and put a beer can next to him to end the show. And the hype video that you guys did leading into this one was Limp Bizkit, My Way. And fans still talk about that promotional video for that match as if it's one of the absolute best of all time. What do you remember about the hype surrounding WrestleMania 17, specifically with this main event? I know we've covered it in our archives, which are available at somethingtowrestle.com, but this is another level of promotion you guys were doing for this main event.
Because it was another level main event with two of the biggest stars in the industry and two of the biggest stars, period, of any genre of anything. This was Frazier Ali. I mean, that's what I like to compare it to, because it was that big. And in the wrestling business, the promotion getting up to it, we did everything under the sun, including buying the $660,000 steer with Mattress Mac to promote this thing, to get people talking, not just about WrestleMania, but this match. And that's, nowadays it's all about WrestleMania, and it's the event, it's the whole weekend, it's everything else. This was about the match. This was about Rock and Austin. Houston, we've got a problem. Well, that was the buildup. Going into this, these two are going to collide, and they were the best in the business at the time. You couldn't pick it, because no matter what you did, you're going to fantasy book, you're going to sit there and read rags that say, I know this is going to happen, and oh well, they changed it. There was none of that. It was truly the hype of what are they going to do? What's the outcome? You got to have one. And that's what made this match so unique and just beautiful in my mind.
Well, of course, the main event is what we're talking about. Rock is going to lose the WWF title to Steve Austin, 28 minutes, 6 seconds. It gets an okay review in the Observer because it gets 4.5 stars. So it tells you that it was a really, really great match, but people still to this day talk about the ending because Vince McMahon comes in. And of course we know that Vince McMahon has been feuding with Stone Cold Steve Austin for years at this point, but now we're going to try something totally different. The hottest star in the business, the biggest babyface, the brightest star, he's going to turn on the fans, but I don't think the fans live there really got it, but the announcer certainly conveyed it at home. You can see more about this match and hear more about it in the archives, of course, but looking back, hindsight being 2020, even Steve Austin would say this was probably one of the biggest regrets of his professional career. What say you?
I would agree with him. And I would also agree that if you had done that, I was about to say, if you had done that any place else other than Texas,
right,
you might have been able to get away with it. But Steve was so popular and Steve was so loved by the audience. That was his character to be anti-authority. That was his character to go against the grain. So all of a sudden he is going against the grain by joining forces with Mr. McMahon. So that was anti-authority. That was anti what was socially acceptable, if you want to put it that way. But I don't think that it was a good idea, and I don't think that it was, again, hindsight is 2020. I wish we wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look back at that and say this was, a pivotal moment in wrestling history. ECW's out of business, WCW's out of business, and there's only one game in town. And I understand the theory of, if you've got two white hot baby faces, maybe business would be bigger or better if one of those guys was a bad guy. I get it, but just didn't really work. The next night on Raw, of course, The Rock is going to come out and demand a title match, and he's going to put Vince McMahon on a sharpshooter. And in so much pain, Vince would agree to a title match and make it a cage match. So later in the show, Austin and Rock go to a non-finish in about 9 minutes, and the fans are super hot for The Rock, chanting his name. Austin's going to juice early from a belt shot, and the finish is going to see The Rock use the rock bottom on Austin while Vince is beating up the referee, Tim White. And then Austin gives The Rock a low blow. and they start to double team the Rock, and who's going to come out for the save, but Triple H with a sledgehammer, and Triple H is going to stare down Austin, and they're all destroying the Rock because of course Triple H is going to hit the Rock with the sledgehammer and a pedigree and a stunner.